Hey, this is my second video for globalization. Again, I'm ColinCassady, and recently we went over Chapter 2. Chapter 2 mostly goes over definitions of different globalization schools of thought. Supposedly there's 5 main schools of thought, one of which the author created himself. It kind of brings me back to community college, where in sociology there were 3 main schools of thought. I probably shouldn't brought that up because I don't remember what they are, but that's fine. So in globalization, there is internationalization, liberalization, universalization, westernization, and transplanetary, also known as respatialization. The final being the author's own school of thought. And I think it's interesting that while they all focus on separate topics, they're all different approaches to kind of getting a handle on what globalization really is. I also think it's interesting that the author seems to dismiss these previous definitions on the grounds that they are old topics trying to shoehorn themselves onto the topic of globalization, or I guess into the topic of globalization. For example, internationalization. I mean, people have been moving across country borders, goods have been moving across country borders for many, many, many years. And is that globalization? Well, yeah, it is. But to define globalization as internationalization is incorrect. Liberalization, liberalization is, I mean, interesting because it's how governments are responding to, current changes in morals and values, to current events, to current, just the current state of things. And it's interesting that they're realizing that, hey, maybe some of these old ways that we used to do things aren't really the best way to do them anymore. So all of these, it kind of seems like the 4 that the author dismisses in total make up respatialization. They're all a piece of the puzzle and they all have their place, but to say that any one is all-encompassing is incorrect. And the author goes into great detail about his own understanding of globalization, which is, in a sense, how physical space affects our lives and how we've overcome that physical space. I mean, physical space is obviously, it's a physical property measured in meters, feet, or like miles, etc. Volume is simply meters cubed. And so it's interesting that these very physical scientific properties affect social soft science type things like globalization. But it's just like relationships between people, trading, overcoming great distances. It all needs to overcome a great distance to be global. And kind of jokingly, I brought up in class on Monday that, I mean, after we're fully globalized, the next step is to kind of solarize our society and take over the solar system, and how we're going to overcome those boundaries. We're going to push them. I mean, we've already got an international space station up in the sky, up in space, so I think, I mean, that is a very real topic that is going to be valid to study one day. And finally, you asked me about my day, and it really just started. I'm actually making this the day that it's due. And interestingly enough, coincidentally, you visited Hawaii recently, and picked up some macadamia nuts. Well, I am actually from Hawaii, and I have not one, but 2 packages of macadamia nuts on hand, which I will be passing out. No, I'm not going to pass them out. I'm going to eat them in class. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I look forward to the topic of discussion today. I'll see you in 5 hours. 4 hours. 5 hours. See ya.